when we're born down here on this earth plane, after a little while, this becomes our reality. And that becomes the vague reality of death. But then when we go back home after a little while, that becomes our reality, and this becomes death. It goes back and forth.
I had a person ask me one time, actually it was a gentleman who lost his wife. She just stood up one morning and she said, "I feel funny," and she died right there. And he and I had a conversation about which is better, to know that someone's going to die or just lose them.
My mother died of a heart attack on Christmas Eve, a very painful experience, but she died instantly of a heart attack. My father, 11 months later, died with terrible pain with pancreatitis on Halloween. Now, I learned from those two experiences how quick it can be and how drawn out the dying can be.
Violence takes it to a whole nother dimension. First off, generally in a violent death, it's a premature death, meaning, gee, this person had 20 more years to live.
It's always hard to say goodbye. It doesn't make any difference whether you've known someone who's going to die, that they have a terminal illness, or if someone dies very unexpectedly. It's very, very hard to believe that that's really happened.
I feel like a part of me is gone. I just want to hold him again. And I know that if I held him again, it would not be enough.
Karma, may it be, I don't know that there's anything in my life I did that would have caused this to happen in my family.
One of the things we all tend to do is ask this rhetorical question, isn't it? We always say, well, why me? Why has this happened to me? Right? And the answer to that spiritually is, well, why not you? What makes you so special to believe that you should believe that you can avoid what is natural and obvious in life, which is that life is unsatisfactory, life is suffering, life is pain.
I haven't been able to fill the void on pride. It's so huge.
In terms of a void being filled, no, that never happens. That void is always there.
It just made me so happy. I don't know if I'll ever be that happy again, truly. That's the hard part. I don't know if I'll ever be that happy again. That's kind of sad.
It's one of those ugly memories that I have of someone saying, I'm really sorry to hear about Bern's death. How are you? I remember turning around and saying, I have no idea how I feel. He took a gun and shot himself in the head in my house. How am I supposed to feel?
Grieving is, again, embrace it. You embrace it. You don't try to avoid it. I knew a friend who was going to try to avoid grieving over the loss of his lover. And the psychological backup in that, the pain of that is doubled when you don't grieve.
And society's just not good about this process. Nobody wants to ask you how you're doing, because first of all, you might tell them. They don't want to hear that. And second of all, they don't want to ask you how you're doing, because if you start to cry, they feel very responsible.
Some people disappeared off the face of the planet while he was sick, and then when he died. They didn't know how to handle it. They didn't know what to say to me, so they just didn't.
But I would rather people remember him and to recognize his existence than to just pretend he never was here and not say anything to me for fear of upsetting me.
As much and as wonderful love may be, relationships, marriages, what do we all have to learn? That one day, no matter what, you're either going to have to depart from this lover or friend or marital partner. Someone's going to die in the relationship. That has to be. Or love gets transformed into something else.
We were emotional with each other about losing each other and not having to complete the dreams that you create when you're with another person, which was one of the hardest things after losing him that I had to acknowledge, was that I had to create new dreams.
What happens when someone dies is you learn to incorporate that loss into your life. It becomes a part of the tapestry of what your life has been, but you never, ever get over a death.
Grief is a beast. It can sneak up on you, and anytime. You don't know when it's going to hit, or if it's going to be hard, or if it's going to be soft. You just kind of have to take the punches and keep rolling.
Here's my approach to it, and I'm not a psychologist, but my approach has been, when I see my friends grieving, I tell them to stay in their grieving. Instead of trying to give them ways out, give them medication, I go, embrace the pain, embrace the grieving. You're grieving. Okay, so grieve.
Feeling was the part I needed to turn on, that I needed to make sure I didn't turn off. That sense of wanting to just stop hurting, in fact, became a welcome pain.
Everything I've seen and everything I've experienced is that pain is a great teacher. Not that we want it, but oftentimes we don't want teaching either. But it really does do something for us, and it builds. I mean, some people say, "Well, it builds character." Okay, but at the end of your life, what does it do?
Horses, if they are cut deeply, will rub against a post, a tree, against anything to rip a scab off of a deep cut. And as any of us know, if a deep cut heals over the top, it never has a chance to heal deep down.
So there's only one thing left to do. Embrace it. Accept the pain. Learn to pull it into yourself and learn from it. You know, I think one of the greatest artists of all time, Michelangelo Buonarroti. When Michelangelo died at 89, he did his best work after he was 60, by the way. He's lying on his deathbed, and we have this recorded. There were men there around his bed. They saw him, going through the process of dying. And at the moment of his death, his last statement was, "I'm dying, but I'm still learning."
Once again, no matter what happens, you're going to deal with it. Unless it kills you, and then that's just a new beginning anyway. So what's the difference?
And once we start ritualizing the grieving process as we do the moments of death, we can handle it much better.
Death is just another beginning. I think that should free people up, because it's true. But each person has to go through that, shall we say, understanding themselves. You can't force that onto other people. But once you do, it brings a solace to you. It brings a tranquility.
Well, it does far more than build character, I think. I think at the end of your life, pain enlightens you. And this is what Michelangelo discovered. I'm still learning.